Welcome to the Adam Anwar podcast. If you want a podcast listening to one man ranting at a camera, then this is the podcast for you. I am going to tell you. Let's kick off with what happened last week. Last week we had Eid. Friday was Eid and I spent time with my family. It was lovely. It was great to spend time with my parents. I love spending time with my parents. The older that I get, the more I cherish that time spending with my parents. And I think it is really, really important that you cherish that time with your parents, because you never know when the last time's going to be. It's sad to say, but you never know when the last time's going to be. And hopefully, touch wood, it's not going to be for a long time, but you never know, do you? So I love spending time with them, love doing whatever I can to just get a few more moments here and there with them. So even every now and then I see my dad driving around, I give him a bit of a wave and all that. So even that just lightens my day a little bit. I'm a bit of a mummy and daddy's boy at heart. I am a little bit of a mummy and daddy's boy at heart, especially compared to some people. I find it weird that some people just really don't have a relationship with their parents. I'll be completely honest. I'm not super, super close with my parents. I'm not the kind of lad who's telling mum or dad every little thing that's going on. I know there's people and there's adults out there who do that, and absolutely, more power to you. I absolutely support you doing that. But me personally, I speak to them all the time, but I'm not the one being like for example, in comedy, I'm not being oh, I'm on my way to this, such and such a place, I'm excited to do this. Even if I am excited to do something, I'm not immediately telling them and being oh, this is happening, and excited to share the news with them. I kind of just chat to them on a more general basis with my parents, and that's what I do. But either way, when it's Eid, I just love spending time with them, relaxing, have a meal with them. What else happened on Eid? Anything interesting happened on Eid? I don't think anything interesting did. We went to the cemetery. I've not been to the cemetery in a while. Paid our respects there. That was nice. That is always the time where you feel the weight of life, I think is the best way to say it. The weight of life in the positive and the negative. So the positive side of it is you get there and you start to feel a real sense of grace and thanks to be alive, and that you're so happy to be alive. And on the flip side of it, you look around and you think one day my number's going to be called. One day it's going to be me who's put in the ground here, and that's a scary thought for me. I don't know about you lot, and I don't know how lot you think about life and death and stuff like that, but it is a scary thought for me. And as a Muslim, I suppose it shouldn't be a scary thought, because we believe in paradise, we believe in heaven, but even still, it's a scary thought to think that everything I'm doing in this life will be left behind, and literally everything I've ever known and everything I've ever focused on will be gone and left behind. But again, like to believe that that's real, like to believe there is a heaven, like to believe there is a paradise in the future, and I can make it there. But being back to being at the cemetery, I remember my dad said something to me once. And every time I'm back at the cemetery, especially, because I go with him most of the time. Because my dad's a very philosophical man. My dad's a deeply religious man. So this philosophicalness comes from religion, but he's also quite a philosophical man. And we were driving back out, and he went, I think it was while we were driving back out, but he said this, he goes, Adam, look at all these people, and he's talking about the gravestones. He's going, every single one of these was a human being who was alive, and they had hopes and dreams and things they wanted to do tomorrow, and they didn't get that tomorrow. And oh my goodness me, talk about the weight of life. When my dad told me that, I was all of a sudden I was like a 3-year-old again, trying to comprehend what an adult's telling me. What do you mean I have to wait 5 minutes for food because it's not ready yet? I have no comprehension of what 5 minutes is. I have no comprehension of what eternity and forever and just your life stopping is. Yeah, the weight of that just kind of gets to me in a positive and a negative way. You start to feel the balance of both sides, and I feel like that's the best way to go about life in general, is feeling the positives and the negatives from everything. Because I feel like if you just focus on one, you're deluded, and some people are deluded in a positive way, they go around thinking I'm the best, I'm the greatest, whatever, and some people go around just seeing the negative in everything. Oh, I can't believe that my bins haven't been collected, or I can't believe that, my bus is late, or whatever it is. They'll find some reason to be upset and complaining. And I like to in day-to-day life try and be grateful for being alive. So going to the cemetery helps me do that. It does help me do that. That was Eid. I do want to go to the cemetery more often. I feel like I should go more often because it gives you, regardless of paying your respects and all that stuff, it gives you perspective. It's good for you as well, not just to give other people. There's a selfish element to this. Is it good because it gives you perspective and you start to look around and, man, I read some of those gravestones and I'm like, you look at them and you see it's like 6 years old and you're like, oh my God, man, it's inconceivable, incomprehensible, words that I can't even spell or tell you how many letters are in those words. But yeah, it gives you that kind of Anyway, let's talk about something a bit more positive. That was Friday. Saturday, I was at Manford's Comedy Club in Penrith. Now, this is one of the gigs that I've been looking forward to, but I had an element of like, oh, this is going to be a tough one because I was looking at how to get there and I was going to get a train there, but by the time I got off stage, there was no train to come back. So what I was going to have to do is I was going to have to stay there overnight, and then the next day, I had a daytime gig and I was going to have to get the train all the way from there to my next gig. So about the day or two before, I just thought, you know what? Let me just see if there is anyone who wants to come to this gig with me. So there's a group of new comedians, and I just sent them a message saying, listen, long shot, does anybody want to take me? Does anyone want to drive me to this gig? Come to this gig. Obviously, you get to see the gig for free. We'll forget about that stuff. I'll pay you. Whatever you ask, I'll just pay you. On top of that, I will get you a paid spot on a comedy night. I can't get you a spot on this one, because I'm the lowest man on this show. When I'm turning up at Manford's Comedy Club, I'm the low man on the totem pole, right? So I can't, be swinging you to get a spot. I just don't have that power. But what I can do is I can get you a paid spot in the future, whether it's on my own night or somebody else's. I'll do that. And a lad called Nick Sutton, who I'd met once before, he got in touch with me and he's like, hey mate, I don't know if you remember me, but I can do it. And I was like, buzzing, fantastic. So that was good. So we travelled up together. And I said to him, listen, whatever you want to talk about on the way up there, if you want to talk about comedy, let's talk about comedy. Whatever you want to do. This is the Saturday, yeah? So we chatted about stand-up all the way up there, talked about what he's doing, talked about the night and what to expect and those kind of things and, etc., etc. And I'm trying to, give him little bits here and there, like, oh, you wait here, I'm going to go over and I'm going to say this and I'm going to find out this and this is why I'm going to go and do this. So I'm not just telling him what I'm going to do, I'm telling him why I'm going to do it, to try and give him an understanding of why I'm doing these things. And then he can make his own mind up. Am I doing the right thing? Am I going over the top and why I'm thinking to do these things? Or does he go, yeah, that's right. That's a good idea. Go and do that. Go and ask that. So a quick example of that is when I got there, obviously the people who are working in the venue, they don't know me because they're not Manford's Comedy Club. They're just purely working the venue, right? Penrith Playhouse. So I go up, hiya, my name's Adam, I'm performing tonight. I've got a driver here with me. I was just wondering, do you have a seat out there? Is it sold out tonight? Can I get him a seat out there? Or shall I take him backstage? What do you reckon I should do? And she said, listen, we have 1 or 2 seats free actually, so you can come and sit over there. Or you can go backstage. I told him, he went, well, I'll come backstage for a bit. He ended up staying backstage all night. Happy days. Nice quick choice. Boom, done. But it's just little things like that. Listen, I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to go find that. I'm going to go give you the 2 options so you can do this. I'm going to go introduce myself to her so she knows who I am. I'm explaining these little kind of things to him. Very basic stuff, yeah. I'm not recreating the wheel. I'm not being over there being like, I'm going to go over there and manipulate this guy into giving me £500 out of his wallet. I'm not Darren Brown or anything like that. This is why I'm doing this. No, very basic stuff. I'm going to go over there, be a nice guy, be a professional. But this is the thing, is though, some people, some comics, their first thing to do is like, oh, I'm going to go to the bar, see if I can get a free drink. That's their first thought process is, I want to get hammered tonight and I want to go to the bar and see if I can get a free drink. And that'll be some comedians' first thought process. And that's not that it's specifically unprofessional, but, that leaves a certain impression to the people running the place, the people running the gig. Oh, Mikey Michelson just turned up and all he was interested in was a double JD and Coke. Actually, can you make it a triple? Actually, they're paying for it. And yes, that's a different precedent, I suppose. But yes, that was Manford's Penrith. It was in a little bit of a theatre, like I'd say a couple hundred seats, maybe like 200 seats, something like that. I mean, you can Google it online, Penrith Playhouse yourself. And the MC of the night was Freddie Quinn. Now, Freddie Quinn's got a big name in stand-up comedy. In fact, today, one of my mates sent a clip of him to me, and then another one of my mates sent me a poster of him being like, oh, Freddie's playing up the road for me. There's another Manford's gig up the road. So this is like, Freddie's got a name. Freddie's like, and in the zeitgeist of, I would say 18 to, even older males, like, yeah, probably females as well. No, he is. So good to gig with him, especially because last time I gigged for him, I did a solid 4 out of 10 performance. I wasn't happy with my performance whatsoever. I feel like maybe a few people struggled on the night, to be completely fair, but I did the worst out of everyone at the same time. So I can't even say, well, I did the best out of everyone. You all struggled, but I did slightly better even though I struggled. No. We all kind of struggled a little bit, but I did worse than everyone. Some people did well, some people did okay, and I thought I did below average. So it was good to get out there. I did my set, and went well. It went well. I was happy with it. I was happy with how it went. A lad called, I think it was Gareth Much, who was opening. Before, and in the green room, everyone's talking about Saturday Night Live UK, because Saturday Night Live UK was launching. There's been so much chatter about this, because first of all, when it was announced, a load of people were like, this isn't going to work. It's not a concept that can work in the United Kingdom. We have a different style of humour. I just don't see it going well. Plus, the whole thing is like making skits, but how are you going to do this well when it's literally everyone on TikTok is already doing that? So these are the kind of conversations that's going on. People were like, oh, I'll give it a fair chance, so I'll give it a fair chance. And I feel like that negative view going into it, that everyone had going into it beforehand, like all these people putting it online, I think that genuinely really helped the show, because if they expect, like me personally, I remember there was an episode of Black Mirror once that still sticks out in my mind. This lad that I know, a mate of mine, he really hyped it up and he was like, oh my God, this is a great episode, it's amazing. So I'm going into it expecting an amazing episode. I watched it and it was a good episode. But because I was expecting this and I got this, I thought it was below my expectation then, and it was disappointing to me. Whereas if you tell someone, if you have the expectation that something's going to be rubbish, you expect this, and you get this. This isn't as good as this, but because it's above expectation, you're going to go, wow, actually, it was better than I thought. I'll watch it again. I've seen little clips of it online that done really well, and I thought it was decent overall. One thing that annoyed me about the whole situation was, the next few days I've seen all these other comedians commenting going, listen, I have more of a right than anyone to hate this show because I auditioned for it and I didn't get it. And I watched it and I actually think it's really good. So, do you know what? Fair play. They made the right decision picking these people. And I saw at least 5 comedians saying this kind of thing. And it made me think, why the hell did I not know about how to audition for this and apply for this and that kind of thing? So I'm terrible with the industry side of stand-up comedy, to be completely honest with you. That explains why I have a podcast by myself and there's no co-host sat here, because I'm terrible at the industry side. Someone who's good at the industry side would be like, do you know what? I'm going to pick someone who's going to off-balance me really well. But no, I don't pick that. I pick these lovely dears behind me, and this is how I do my podcast. So it's got in my mind a little bit that I need someone on my side who's going to help me to at least know that these things are happening, so I can at least apply. So even if I don't get them, I can at least like feel like I'm more in the conversations. Whereas with the Saturday Night Live thing, I feel so far attached from it because I knew it was happening, but I didn't know how to audition for it, how to apply any of that stuff. I think I searched it at one point. Nothing was available online, at least like publicly. So yeah, these are the things that I want to, because I would have loved to have been on that. And I even would have loved to have even had a physical audition for it and like gone through the process, because I also feel like in life sometimes, a lot of the time, you need a few no's before you get that yes. So like you need, like job interviews is a great example. You go to some job interviews, you do poll. I remember I had one for Apple once and I did awful. I did so bad. I remember they asked me like, oh, why do you want this job? And I went, because I need the money. And I knew as soon as it left my mouth, I'd said the wrong thing. But I also thought, right, next time I'm going into a job interview, I know they're going to ask me that. I'm going to come up with a better answer. I'm going to tell you that I have a passion for Apple products. I have used Apple since they've come out. I think they're amazing. I think they're revolutionary. I would love to be a part of this huge company that is great and be a representative of that and represent them professionally. At least come up with a good answer, if not an excellent answer. And I think like if you come up with some good answers, after a while you go, well, actually I can make this even better. I can come up with even better answers. And that's why. Yeah, so yeah. I would love to go through those processes. So yeah, I need someone on my side. So anyone who wants to help me out with that stuff, feel free to drop me a message every time you see something that I should be going for. That's one thing that is great with like some of my mates who are outside stand-up comedy. They'll see stuff and they'll send it to me, even though like a lot of the times it doesn't really help. I still really appreciate it. So I remember when I was first starting, people would just send me like posters of gigs and being like, "You should try and get on this." And I look at the lineup and it'd be 2 people I've live at the Apollo and someone else who's been doing comedy 15 years. And I was like, man, I'd be like, what do you expect me to do with this? Like, they're not going to book me. Like, these are all free, probably professionals. I've been doing stand-up at the time, like 6 months. I can't just message and be like, "Hiya, I'll headline this for you. I'll MC it. I'll open for you." No. You need to go through the processes and apply it properly, and there's different ways to do it. But I appreciate people sending me stuff my way, regardless if it's relevant or not, because at least I can then figure out if it's relevant. But cause I'm never upset about someone sending me a good time and be like, "Hey, why don't you try this?" And be like, "Oh, well, unfortunately, I can't." At least that's all I need to say, right? But yeah, Manford was happy with it. Overall, that's what happened at Manford's Comedy Club. Then the next day, so bear in mind that's in Penrith, which is all the way up here, right? Let's say I live here on the Days Head and Penrith is up here in the trees. The gig afterwards was in Leicester, which is past the Days Head, which is over here on the little Norwegian badge that I'm tickling. So I would have had to bear in mind, like I was saying, I was going to have to go up, stay the night because there's no hotel back, and the next day get a train back past where I live down to Leicester for a 1 o'clock start. It was supposed to be a 1 o'clock start. Now, this one in Leicester the next day was a Muslim show. It was for Eid specifically because Eid was on Friday. So on the Sunday, they were going to get together, this group of people, and they'd arranged to put on a stand-up comedy show. I was about to say night, but no, it was a show. It wasn't a night because it was happening at 1 p.m. So now I don't need to stay the night. Thank you very much, Nick. Good lad. Took me to the gig, drove very well, brought me all the way back. Good company, enjoyed chatting to him all the way there, etc., etc. I'm back. Next day, because I was going to this Muslim show, I've got a mate and he used to do stand-up comedy. His name's Shaz. And Shaz has told me loads of times, "Listen, when you're doing Muslim shows, when you're doing Asian shows, let me know. Because I want to come to some." Like, the reason why he stopped doing stand-up comedy is like he doesn't really want to be, like, he's a Muslim, he doesn't really want to be around like pubs and stuff like that, essentially. And there's other things as well, but that's one of the elements of it. So he says, when you're doing the Muslim shows, obviously they're probably not going to be in pubs, so let me know, and if I'm available, I'd love to come to one. So just messaged him out, and it was like, "Listen, do you fancy coming to this in Leicester?" And he was like, "Yeah, full enough, I'm up for that, yeah, I'll come to that." And I was buzzing now, because all of a sudden I'd gone from a gig where I'd have to go get a train all the way up to Penrith, stay overnight, pay an hotel, then get a train all the way back to Leicester, and then and I was going to have to be messing around all over the shop. And then he saved me with that, and I was like, okay, but he's like, "Listen, I'm in a bit of a rush because of this, this, and this." I was like, "Not a problem. I'll let the promoter know that we're in a bit of a rush. I'm opening the show, so worst case scenario, I just cut a few minutes off my set. As long as I do it within a certain time frame, everyone's going to be happy. Audience will be happy, the bookers will be happy, and the promoters will be happy. And me and you will be happy because we get to go home early." So we get to it. Now, what it turned out to be is a Shia sect of Islam, of these Indians who had moved to Africa, and then from like Africa, and they then moved to the UK in like the 70s or whatever, when Idi Amin was doing all that stuff and all that. So, and they're a community that have like strong links to each other still, so they all like remain in contact. So when I got there, I think it was like 12:15, 12:30 or something. There's a big stage and there's loads of people sat down. There's kids running all over the place and there's older people. So my first thought is, I'm looking around and I'm thinking, this is going to be a nightmare. I said it to Shaz, I said, this is going to be a nightmare. Because I already knew it was going to be a religious show. So I already knew that I'd have to be halal. Yeah, so halal, you're not doing like rude jokes, which I don't do an overabundance of rude jokes, but you just, anything that you do have that's in that category, you're going to have to, scrap. So then you get there, you see there's a lot of old people and small children there. When you see the small children, like, wow, okay, not only does it have to be halal, there needs to be no swearing, because I can only imagine if I'd gone to like an Eid do with my children, which I don't have children, but if I had children, I've done to an Eid do, there's some guy on stage and he's effing and jeffing all over the shop. I'd be looking at everyone being like, what's going on here? Like, I brought my kids to a religious celebration. this guy's swearing. So I thought it's going to be a nightmare. I'm going to be really handcuffed. I can't do rude stuff. Now I can't do any kind of swearing whatsoever. It's going to have to be really PG and PC. I thought, oh, okay, I guess I'll figure it out. Then I see the lad running it, Rahul. So me and Rahul are friends. We've been friends for years. So I look at him and he's laughing. He's like, yeah, I know, mate, I know. And he's like, if you want to cut some time off your set, it's completely fine. I said, you know what, mate? I think I will do, especially with us having to rush off. But the fact that I was being handcuffed, I was like, okay, I might need to do, instead of 2 or 3 less minutes, maybe about 5 or so less minutes now. You know, maybe double the amount of less minutes that I was going to do originally. Anyway, so we're in there. And then there's a big stage there. There's women on stage, and they bring in kids up on stage, and they're asking them, oh, were you fasting? How many fasts did you do? And they're asking all these kind of questions. And then they're going, oh, and then the next person who's going to come up, they're from the Birmingham chapter. I'm thinking, Birmingham chapter? What is this? Like, what is this amalgamation? And my friend who came with me is nosy with this stuff, and he's very interested in this stuff. Because, like I say, he's not just a Muslim, but he's very much on this Islamic path where he does lots of learning of it. And he wanted to know, he genuinely wanted to know, like, who are these people? What they're about? What the story, basically. So he does a little bit of research on them, and then he's telling me about them. Oh, this is what they are. This is, you know, who they are, where they're from, and this is the kind of story. And then what happens is this is the Leicester chapter, and every year they have an Eid ceremony, what with the word? Celebration, and they put on a big event. So they wanted this time to put comedy on it, and I thought, okay, this is interesting. So. And they move around every year. So like Leicester, Birmingham, I think Glasgow was one of them, but to all the other cities. So yeah, came time to start the show. Now Hassan Al Habib was hosting the show, because the lad running it, Rahul, he's a Hindu, so he didn't want to like have himself hosting, because he felt like, not that it was inappropriate, but he felt like it's in his mind, oh, it's better to just pick a Muslim to do it and then let them do it, because it just flows better. So Hassan goes up there, and he's doing okay, and I'm thinking, this is a tough crowd, this is a really tough crowd, and he's getting laughs at them. I'm thinking, do you know what, fair play to the lad, I'm going to struggle here, and he's doing well here, he's getting a tune out of these people, which is a graft. I can't imagine the kind of things that I'd be doing right now to try and like get them all on board, and like I say, he does well. I go up there. Oh, I didn't mention this. In between all these people getting on stage and the comedy starting, there was a prayer. They were praying. And there was loads of people talking, and like kids making noise and stuff like that. It wasn't mega loud, but it was very loud. It was loud and noticeable. And I remember thinking, this is weird, because like when I'm at home as a kid, like, and even as an adult now, like I wouldn't really talk while my dad's praying in front of me. I'll like give it the respect of like at least giving him like silence and peace to just like pray. It's only if like, I don't know, let's say my mum is cooking food and she'll poke her head out the kitchen going, oh Adam, do you want a drink, love? Like, I'll go, oh yeah, can I have a glass of water? Whatever. It's only that kind of talking that would happen. There's no real like full conversations going on. But while they're all praying, there's loads of people who aren't praying. There's loads of conversations going on. I'm thinking, what is happening here? Like, and there's adults going shh, and they're shushing and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, this one woman, she loses her rag and she goes, will you please be quiet and show some respect for the namaz, the prayer? Will you show some respect and be quiet? And she really, really, just for about 15, 20 seconds, lays into everyone, be quiet. And I'll be honest, it was a little bit funny because it was awkward. We needed to break the silence. And I'm looking at Rahul and we're all kind of giggling at each other going, yeah. Because we weren't really talking. We were talking maybe a little bit and like in hushed tones, but not a lot. But there was a lot of conversation like going on and all that kind of stuff. So so the comedy starts. Hassan goes up, then he brings me on. I'm there, I'm opening up the show. I go up there and open, and I'm thinking, right, I'm doing 15 minutes instead of 20, I'm getting out of here. And I really enjoyed it. Genuinely, they were a lovely crowd to play because they weren't a traditional comedy audience. They hadn't come for stand-up comedy, but because this is like one big community that have like, maybe even first persecution in now multiple countries, they're very together and they're very up for, let's do this together. So I had a great time of it. And then at one point, like there was kids running around at the back, going, excuse me. if you don't quiet down at the back, I'm going to get that woman who shouted at you all earlier, and oh my goodness, the crowd goes up in laughter, everyone absolutely loving it. I look down here, and about 5 rows in, that woman, she's laughing and clapping and hiding her face and all this stuff, and like, honestly, broke the tension. I really, really enjoyed myself. I feel like that element in itself really, like, got us all on the same page finally. And I think it was down to her, like, her shouting at everyone, like, will you have some respect? That probably made it a little bit easier for the comedy. But I was saying to the lads, I was like, listen, if they're not going to be silent while they're praying, there's no chance you're going to listen to the comedy here. But luckily they did, and it weren't too bad. Rahul went on after me, which is the perfect spot there. You start to mix it up a little bit. It's an Eid celebration, you put some Muslims on. Now put a Hindu on, it's not a problem. People, they didn't care he was Hindu, but I think if you start an Eid show or a Muslim show with someone who isn't Muslim, even me, even someone who's not visibly Muslim, I think it does confuse audiences sometimes. And I ask people, I say, listen, will you put me not first? Because if you put me first, I think you're going to confuse them a little bit unless they know me. And the chances of them knowing me isn't that great. Like, I've got a moderate social media following, but it's not like I've got like 50 million followers and I'm like, buddy, the Kim Kardashian of the Muslim comedy world. Like, it's just not going to be the case. They're not going to know who I am, right? So, yeah, either way. And then Shazia Mirza came on at the end, and she, bear in mind, I was talking about being handcuffed earlier, not being rude and not being swearing. She did not give one. She went up there, and I'll be honest, us 4 comedians, we were, well, the 3 comics and my mate Shaz, who used to be a comic, we were howling at what she was doing. She went up there and she's blasting the guys in the front row. Why is there no women in the front row? There should be women in the front row. Not you, such as... And I was like, this is brilliant. The way she's just come up on stage, took full control of the thing. I really, really enjoyed watching her. But that was the Leicester gig. And then Monday night was my gig in Hindley. Back to my gig in Hindley where I'm booking the show. I'm hosting the show. You get a lot of anxiety on these nights. So, as an example, I only run this gig there because it's my friend who I used to work with, Roxanne. She runs the bar and she'd been to see me a few times beforehand, just as an audience member. And then while she's running the bar, she messaged me going, listen, mate, will you run us a night? Like, we'd love to run one. So I thought, do you know what? I'll do you a night. I'll do you a night at like a discounted amount, but yeah, we'll do it. I'll just host it every time. That'll help cut down cash as well. Yeah, we'll have a good time with it. So, and she'd messaged me like the day before, being like, ticket sales aren't great. Like, can we like give this a bit of a push? And I had a few people who were supposed to come and dropped out, and that's a different story from a different day. James, but overall, it was cool. It ended up being like 20 odd tickets, I think, and it only fits 30, so it's fine. Obviously, you'd rather have it full. I think anything 15 and over in that room is fine. Like 20, which was the amount, and then 2 people didn't turn up who'd bought tickets, so we had about 18 in the room, plus the comics sat at the back as well to pad it out a little bit even further. But a 15 in that small room is fine. 30 maximum, 20, well, like 18 on the night. Decent. It works well. So, but I've got that anxiety now because I'm thinking, right, if she hasn't sold 10 tickets, then that's 100 quid. So she needs to make another 100 quid to make this night worth it. So I'm like, oh, this. So I'm feeling that anxiety. Obviously, when I go, I want to catch up with her a little bit. She's my friend. I want to say hello. How are you doing? You know, what's going on? Her partner's there as well, Sean. I want to speak to him. Excuse me. Through Roxanne, I've got to know him from coming to see me, and then also through now running a gig at their venue. So I enjoy talking to them, but then the acts are there as well. I obviously want to talk to them. They're my colleagues. They're people who on the night are being kind of subcontracted through me, I suppose. So then I want to like make sure they feel comfortable, that they know how things are going to go. If we're starting late, I want them to feel comfortable. Listen, we're not going to start mega late. I'm not keeping you here all night. We're just going to start in about 5 minutes because 2 people haven't turned up. She's messaged them to find out if they're coming. If they don't come, we're going to fill this seat with other people from other tables, and then we're going to do it that way. But at the moment, she's reserved it for them. These kind of things. So you're trying to split your time now as well between all the... And as well, I might have had something that I wanted to... Like maybe this needs to Lou or something. And there's audience members there who know me as well. So Chris came. Big up Chris. Chris, bless Chris. Chris has been to so many of our gigs. Chris has been to so many of our gigs. He's a top guy, loves it. And he sits right near the front, and he doesn't mind if people take the mick out of him a little bit. Although, well, after he's had a few drinks, he will shout out a punchline here and there if he guesses it, bless him, which got him into a bit of trouble with the headliner. But it's fine, it was all good. But yes, I'm trying to split my time between all these different things, and you're feeling like I don't want Chris to feel like I've ignored him. He's come to see us. I don't want Roxanne to feel like, oh, I'm just turning up and taking her money and like just chatting to the comics and going. I don't want the comics to feel like, oh, we're coming here to gig for him, and he's just spent all the time talking to Roxanne who runs the bar. So I'm trying to spend my time between all these different people. On top of that, I typically run gigs with Matt Downey, but Matt didn't come to the show. We have a mic stand which is in Matt's boot, I believe. So we didn't have a mic stand. So then again, saying that, if that's in my spare room over there, I'll be fuming with myself because we could have had the mic stand. So now we have a gig with no mic stand now. So then I'm apologising to the comics because some comics, you always want a mic stand. First of all, it's a giveaway of a poor gig if there's no mic stand. To be completely honest with you, we have one. It just wasn't there on the night. So again, I understand it from the comedian standpoint. I'd be a bit like, but you can make do with it. You can just hold it like I'm holding this microphone right now, right? So anyway. Open the show, crowd working, nice, lovely. Luckily, there were some people there who hadn't been to the show before, so I got to chat with them a little bit, get to know them. Sometimes in these small venues, you can get a lot of repeat customers, and you're not really getting to chat with too many people because you've asked them all these questions before, and they go, come on, mate, you asked me this 6 months ago, and I'm like, oh, yeah, but I've forgotten in 6 months. You remember because you come to the comedy night in your local, but I forgot because I do bloody shows X amount of times a week. Anyway, I don't want them to feel like that. I want it to feel like nice for the entire audience. So, anyway, MC'd, had a good time. Tom Little came on. I've not gigged with Tom for a couple of years now. I like Tom. Tom's he's like an alternative kind of comedian. He has a different kind of style, and I find him for some audiences, no, that's the wrong way to say it. I found him for this audience a little tricky because this audience is a salt of the earth, working class kind of audience. Whereas Tom is kind of messing with who aren't used to going to stand-up comedy. That's the biggest part of it, I should say. They're not used to going to stand-up. Whereas Tom messes with the formula of stand-up a little bit. He does traditional stand-up, but because he's a little bit alternative, he'll mess with it in some kind of ways, and he'll do things that a bit self-referential. Now, Roxanne, who runs the bar, she loves comedy, and I heard Sean, who was on this table, and he was sat with his sister and his niece. I heard him say, this is well up Roxanne's alley, and he's smiling. He's happy that she's having a good time, and that, just for that, it was worth having him. Never mind the fact that he did a good job. It was worth having him just for that moment of seeing Sean happy, because Roxanne, who's his partner and my friend, is having a good time, and she's running the bar, and it's stressful for her as well, and she's had 10 tickets that hasn't sold, but straight away, first act on it, she's having a good time. Brilliant, fantastic. Then we have our break, we come back, we have our second act of the evening. It was Jill G, my friend Jill. I booked her because she's my friend and I like her comedy. I think she's good at what she does. I also thought, mix it up a little bit. She's going to give us something different than what Tom's going to give us. She's going to give us something different than what the headliner's going to give us. Different than what I'm going to give you. We all do slightly different things, and I like to do that as well. I like the lineups to be different. I don't want 3 of the same kind of comedian in a row, because then you're like, everything's a bit samey. But if people are going in different directions, or you just don't know where to go, it's better. So anyway, Jill went up. Best I've ever seen her do. I thought she did really, really well. And I thought, you know what? I booked you because you're good, but you've actually done better than I'd ever seen you before. I was really, really pleased with how well she did. Then, final act of the night. Really, really pleased again, because it was Dom Woodward. He came on to close. Now, Dom's been doing stand-up for decades now. And Dom does the kind of material that I feel like he can play any room, this guy. I feel he probably can with all of experience. Maybe not the Eid room. That might have been difficult for him on the Eid one. But then again, I feel like he probably would have done well then. But He went on and he did. I saw a gig with him like a couple of months ago, and he did like some of the stuff that he did on that night, and the crowd loved him. And then he ended with like a magic kind of trick kind of thing where he asks the audience to write certain stuff, and then he guesses who wrote each one, and he gives them out to 4 people, and he guessing, okay, which one of the you 4 wrote this. And I thought it was really, really good what the little magic trick thing that he did at the end, and I do like that he does something different to end the gig than other. Well, he ended on a couple of jokes as well, but that was like his main piece towards the end of his set, so that was interesting in itself. So again, running a show, not my favourite thing to do. There was a girl who attended the gig, and she runs a bar in Ashton, I think Ashton in Makerfield, not Ashton under Lyne. Ashton in Makerfield, and she wants to run a gig at her venue. So I gave him my price, and yeah, we'll see where that goes. So because we're only going to do one more in Hindley, it's going to be June the 8th, and I'm looking forward to going there. Looking forward to do one more show for Roxanne. We've already discussed potential lineups. I've already started to put the feelers out for who I want to close the show. Either way, I'm getting more of a feel now for the kind of comedian that Roxanne likes. So if I can't get the exact people that she likes, I may be able to get better. I don't want to tempt fate, but there's an act who's done TV, multiple things on TV, for years, who I may be able to get, and I'm very excited about this prospect of maybe getting him. I don't want to flirt the idea in front of her and then be like, oh, sorry, I couldn't get him. But yeah, I want to get a really good, solid, strong lineup for her for the last show. She's even offered a higher budget, which I'm going to try and remain with the budget that we've got already, and try and get her as good of a lineup as possible for it. So yeah, really looking forward to that final show on Monday, the 8th of June. Come there. I'm pretty sure that one's going to sell because it's going to be the last one. She's going to push it hard, and it's going to be a belter. Yeah. Oh yes. What have I got coming up this week? So this week, oh my goodness me. So I've got a weekend of gigs in Hull this week. Now, I think I've explained this before, but when I do these weekend gigs in Hull, what I do is I travel up on the Friday night, and then I'm gigging there Friday and Saturday. I will ideally try to get the train back on Saturday night. As soon as I'm off stage, boom, I'm getting to the train station, and I'm trying to get home. If I can't, I've got to stay again overnight. So the second night, and then I get the train back. So then, but the thing is, once you've done that, you've paid hotel for 2 nights. It really eats in to the money that you're making. But that's not the big part. That's not the big part. The big part is this: if you are getting an hotel on a Friday night and you're checking out Saturday because you're getting a train back Saturday night, your checkout is at 11 o'clock on Saturday at the latest. They might offer you late checkout, but typically it's 10, half 10, maybe a bit later. 11 o'clock checkout, realistically. My stage time isn't till 9 o'clock. The show's not starting till 8. The doors don't open till 7. So 11 till 7, 8 hours. It's a full shift for a working man. I've got to wander around Hull and find things to do. Now, in the past, I've been to the deep. I've gone and seen all the fishes. I've seen so many fishes, I can't count, which, to be fair, I can only count up to 7. But still, I can't count all them fishes. A lot of fishes they are. I go and have brunch. Great, go and have a bit of brunch. What's that going to, 45 minutes? If you really drag it out, an hour, but at the end, they're just going to be looking at you going, why is this creepy, weird guy who's by himself just sat there for ages, like nursing that last bit of coffee that went cold 23 minutes ago? Yeah, and you don't want to stick around, do you? You want to go, and you don't want to be the creepy guy who's just lingering around, but then you can't tell them the truth going, because then you feel like, there's so many people when they start stand-up, and I probably was guilty of this myself in parts, where you can't wait for someone to ask you a question, going, I'm a comedian, I do stand-up comedy, and that, you do that when you're bloody doing open mics, and you get really giddy about being a stand-up, and then the more that you do it, you're like, I don't want any questions about stand-up, because people ask you the same jokes over and over again. Oh, you're a stand-up, are you? Tell us a joke then. Tell us a joke then, mate. You're a stand-up, tell us a joke then. I'm like, mate, I can't tell you a joke. I don't just tell jokes on demand like that. That's not what I do. That's not something that I have in my locker. And even if I did tell you a joke, you're not going to like it because I'm on the spot. This isn't the right scenario for it. I don't have a microphone. There's no lighting. You've not been warmed up. Like, yeah, So I try not to speak to them. But yeah, that would be the only thing that I could do, is be like, oh, I'm a stand-up comedian, and I'm doing comedy at the Comedy Lounge in Hull tonight, and it doesn't start till 8 o'clock, and the doors open at 7, and I'm just a lonely man away from home. They'll be like, we don't really care, mate. Can you get out? Can you go somewhere else? So then where am I going to go then? If I don't go to the aquarium and see all the fishes again? Well, I could go to the cinema. Guess what? Films are only 2 hours. Yeah, if I watch the trailers. Yeah, if I get there a bit before. Yeah, if I eke some time out afterwards, maybe go for a wee, whatever. Might be able to max it out to 2.5 hours. But even still, that leaves me now with about 4 hours left to just walk around and do. What am I going to do? Walk around, look at JD Sports, look at all the trainers that are just not very interesting to me. Then I go to H&M, look at all the t-shirts. Go to Primark and look at all the jeans. What am I going to do with all that time? So, yeah, that's what I've got coming up this weekend in Hull. I'm hoping a mate of mine might want to come with me. I might again put a message out just to see if anybody does want to come to Hull and try that. But either way, it's going to be a long weekend. But this is the thing, so if someone does want to come with me, what I'll do is I'll go up and down on the Friday night. Like, I'll go up with them on the Friday, come back with them on the Friday. Then Saturday, then I'll get the train up, and then hopefully just train straight back. If I do have to get the hotel overnight because I can't get a train that late, that's fine. I can do that. I don't mind paying that. But what I do mind is that 8 hours of nothingness during the day in Hull. That is just, you can't do nothing with that time. You just can't. There's nothing you can do with it. Anyway, that's me Friday and Saturday, which, to be fair, I'm looking forward to it. The lineup is interesting, but I find when I go to this venue that, like, the MC's never the MC. When I look at the lineup and I see the MC's always changed to someone else, and there's 2 lads that live locally who often fill in and do the MC, which I like hanging out with them both, to be fair. So I won't mind if it was them. I won't mind if it's any of the ones who are on the thing, to be honest. But either way, looking forward to doing it. Proper comedy club, full-time comedy club. Get in there, do your jokes. And 2 nuns go into a bar. One turns you and says, let's not make an habit out of this. Anyway, then I'm in Sheffield on Wednesday. Another Yorkshire gig, 3 Yorkshire gigs in a row it's going to be. This time for Dan Innes, my mate Dan Innes, I'm going to be gigging at Haggler's Corner for him. And I like Hagglers. I like doing Hagglers for him. Hopefully it's warm next week and we can do it outside. But if it's inside, that's fine as well. And like I say, I like doing this gig for him. I absolutely enjoy it. I'm going to be closing the show, so hopefully audience should be as good as the usual, because the audience are good there. And touch wood again. Every time I've done it, I've had a good time. I've had a good gig. Even the one time that I was really, really sick, I had a good time there. So that's Wednesday, doing a Haggler's Corner in Sheffield. So that's my next gigs in the next week, basically. I got 3: Friday, Saturday, Wednesday coming up, from between this coming out on Thursday and next Thursday. So yeah, looking forward to that. I've been thinking about, so I've like, some of you might know, but I do like live streams every now and then on TikTok and stuff like that. And I've been talking to a mate of mine about like these people who do the IRL streams, and people like, is he called Hassan Abi or something like that, who just do like these long streams and on whatever online. And it's something that like is interesting to me, but it's not something that I think I would make a full-time go of, because I don't really want my life to be content in the sense of every minute I'm being filmed and stuff like that. I don't really want that to be my life. I don't want people to have this kind of level of ownership of my life as well. It's a big question that happens in stand-up comedy. I think this is something that a lot of people, and the reason why I'm thinking about this is I had this discussion / debate / argument with a mate of mine today, because he's like, in his mind, if he sees someone do something, he's like, you should do this. This guy's, and he just thinks, because he sees them a lot, they make millions. So he goes, you seen this guy Jim Skin? He makes millions. He just streams himself live. And I'm like, I don't know if he does make millions. He might make millions. I don't think he does, but he might do. I don't know that. And I don't really want to go around everywhere and just stream all the things that I do. I don't really want people to have that kind of like, but he's like, no, you're just being stubborn. I'm like, no, it's not that. Because this is the thing is, he'll always come up with something like this that I've already thought of, and I've already kind of thought in my mind that like, I don't see a way of doing it as myself and enjoying it first of all. Because this is the thing as well, like, the whole reason I do stand-up comedy is I want to make my money doing something that I enjoy and doing something that's positive. And I've mentioned it before, why I don't really do food reviews and why I don't really value the stuff that you saw in the Manosphere documentary, where these people maybe like talk negatively about women and manipulate young boys, but into like buying whatever. Like I don't like that kind of. I don't want to make my money like that. I want to make my money by like entertaining people. I want to be creative and these kind of things. So I like the element of that. Now, there's this element that people don't understand this time. Now, this mate of mine, he goes, oh, you want to be famous? I said, listen, I don't want to be famous. Fame is not like a currency for me. Actual currency, that's currency for me. Like, I want to have a career in stand-up. I don't necessarily want to be like somebody who can't go anywhere because their level of fame has risen so high that, like, if Ricky Gervais is walking through the streets, he's getting stopped 100 times, and people feel like you owe them some of your time. Like, I feel like in a really lovely position in the sense of, like, if I see people who recognise me, for the most part, they'll barely say anything. And, like, so for example, like, I'll see someone staring at me and I'll think, oh, what they're staring at? And in my mind, it won't even trigger to me that, like, or they might know me from social media or whatever. But then, like, I'll be on a TikTok live or something, or like I'll just post a TikTok and someone, or an Instagram, and someone will comment being like, I saw you before in Morrison's, and I'll be like, oh, cool, man, cool. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Like, do you know what I mean? So I'm lucky that, like, then when people do see me, it's not, again, not a lot of people will recognise me, like I was saying before. Like, even though I've got a moderate following, it's only like about 90,000 people. Like, 90,000 people across the globe is like very minimal in terms of like recognisability. So like, I could happily walk through a lot of towns in the UK and nobody at all would recognise me whatsoever. Like, why? Like, the chances of them recognise me would be very low, right? So I'm in a nice position like that. But when people do recognise me, for the most part, it's like positive experiences. I remember one time I had a negative experience, actually. I don't think I've ever told this story publicly. And it was in summer last year. And I'd left Morrison's in Bolton and I was eating an ice cream. And I'd just bought 4 of these Kinder Bueno ice creams. And I've literally got the ice cream in my hand like this. And I don't have anything in my other hand. I think maybe a shopping bag or something. No, nothing in my other hand because I had a backpack on. And this guy comes up to me like he's hammered. He's off his head. It's like, it's the middle of summer. It's about 5 o'clock and he's off his head. And he's like, why are you filming me or something like that? And I'm like, so I stop and I'm like, oh, you what? And I'm holding my ice cream like this. And he swings, I don't know if he thought this was like a phone in my hand. Or, no, I put my hand up like that and I go, this ain't a phone, I'm not filming you, this is an ice cream. And he just swings and he slaps the ice cream out of my hand. And I'm looking around and everyone's like, and I'm like, right, what do I do here? Do I fight this man because he's knocked an ice cream out of my hand? He's clearly off his head here. Do I want to fight someone for the sake of like 50p's worth of ice cream because I've just bought the box for £2 or whatever and I've got 4 inside it? Because the fight goes one of 3 ways, right? It either gets broken up and nothing much happens, so why have you got into it in the first place just for people to break it up? Now, we're in public, so it could get broken up. 2, I win. What a tough guy I am. I've just beaten up somebody who's drunk already. He doesn't even know what's going on. He thinks my ice cream is a camera. Now, I don't know if he thought my ice cream was a camera or whether he was trying to say something because he recognised from social media and doesn't like me. This is what I'm trying to say in terms of one negative experience. And this is the only thing that's ever been negative to my recollection is this guy, what he's doing here. So I'm like... the third option is, like, so it gets broken up, I beat a drunk guy up. Or the third one is, he beats me up. So 1, I've lost my ice cream, and 2, he's beat me up. Well, I'll be honest with you, I definitely don't want the third one to happen. First one, if that one gets broken up, then again, all I've done is delayed me time home and delayed me time opening my next ice cream, which, spoiler alert, that's exactly what I did, is as soon as, like, I just looked at him and I'm not going to say it on here. I may have sworn at him. I may have called him a name. I called him an idiot. I swore at him, called him an idiot, because he is an idiot, you know. And then in front of him, I got my box, I took my bag off my back, took my next ice cream out, unwrapped it, took the wrapper, bin was over there, the way I was walking anyway, so I just walked off from him, threw my wrapper in the bin, and I walked off. And I was like, all the way home, I was just shaking my head like, what was he on about? Like, what was that guy on? Like, I don't know. But that was the only negative experience I could think of that came from social media. If it even did come from social media, maybe he just thought I was filming him, like I was holding my ice cream like this, and he thought I was filming him or whatever. Either way, for the most part, people are nice when they stop me. And like people only stop me as well, because again, I'm not anyone of a particular note. They will just stop me and be like, oh, I see you on social media, like, oh, any more videos coming? And I'll be like, yeah, you know, I uploaded one this morning, whatever, or I plan on doing one next week. Whatever the story is, I'll just be like, oh, yeah, whatever, yeah, well, I might have one coming up soon. Just make sure you're following me. I might slide that in there. I always get them to follow you, innit? Slide that in. And extremely rarely someone will ask for a picture, extremely rarely. So these kind of things that happen don't impact my life in a negative way. They're not taking time from me in a meaningful way. They're not taking a lot of time, should I say. They're just sharing an experience with me for like 10 to 30 seconds, have a little bit of a mini chat with me, and that's it. And that's lovely. I like having that kind of chat with people. So the reason why I do stand-up isn't for a kind of fame where like I want this to happen every time I leave the house and stop me from going places, because it does stop you from going places. And like I say, that guy did slap the ice cream out my hand. That's one ice cream I was down. So no, what I want is I want a level of knownness. I want to be known enough so that I can put on comedy shows in towns all across the UK, hopefully Europe, and hopefully the world, and put on shows and sell enough tickets that I can make a living out of that, and that's how I can feed my family. And that's why I want to do stand-up comedy, because it's a very rewarding thing to be able to bring joy to people. Islamically, it's really good as well to bring happiness to people, and that's one thing that I can do through stand-up comedy, is it does genuinely make you feel good that you're making other people feel good, and that you're giving them entertainment. And like some people will say, like, oh, listen, I'll be honest, I'm having a really tough time, needed a laugh this week, and that's really sorted me out, that. So it is something that I do cherish the ability to do that, and that's why I want to do it. I don't just want to I don't want to be in the public eye just for the sake of it. Like this Jim Skin guy, like he was telling me, he goes, oh, he was going in and he was talking about the coffee beans being burnt at 93 degrees, and I was like, I don't want to be known for a guy who spoke to someone about coffee beans being burnt. Like, that's not very interesting to me. If I had a great joke about it, then brilliant, that's fantastic. Oh, that's the guy with the coffee joke, he's really funny. I'd love that. I love that I could bring joy to people, but I'm not really bothered about just being people that just know me for the sake of it. Like, there's no point in that for me. Some people might have a point in that, but for me, I you know, what's it gonna give me? Yeah, I think we're gonna call it a day. You know, I think we're gonna call it a day on that. It's been a pod, this one. I've got through this quickly. All I've really talked about is my gigs and a little bit of social media and the fact I don't want to live stream, but I got through it quickly. Thank you guys for watching so much. I hope this flew by for you. Do you want to see me have guests on this podcast? Because this is what my mate James was telling me. He was saying, listen, you should bring a guest in, because when I do it by myself, it's like I'm talking at you. But when there's two of us, maybe it feels like you're in the conversation. You could join in at any time. So, yeah, if you want me to have a guest on, let me know. These drop every Thursday at 5:30, so share it with a friend. If you got any questions, fire them away in the comment section. I'm going to start doing that as well. You know, when I've got trolls on social media, I'm going to start going, do you know what? Ask me on my podcast. How about do that? Because the thing is, on social, in the last month, I've had like 2.5 million views. So you get a good amount of people watching, but what that also comes with a lot of trolls. So if I can send the trolls onto these videos, pump these views up a little bit, because these views, they get low numbers. I don't mind the numbers, to be completely honest with you. That's why I keep doing it. And I never ask anyone to share my stuff, like my podcast or anything like that. It's only rarely I ever ask them to share like my actual social media content if I think I got a good video that can get good numbers. But in terms of the podcast, I do this because I like talking, and I like talking through things in full form, and people tell me that they like hearing the kind of things in stand-up comedy. Also, like I said, pro comedian is probably looking at it going, this guy don't know what he's talking about. He's absolutely waffled there about stand-up. And anyway, that's my waffle over. I'll syrup you later.